Okay, so representation of data, how we can represent our data. Okay, this is the next topic. So data array and then frequency distribution. These are the two ways of representing it as tabular form. Okay, then these histograms, frequency polygons, and ogives, these are the visual, like graphic representation of the data. Okay, so we will go through them one by one, one by one. So what is the data array? If when you collect the data, it is called raw data. Okay, so let's say you are collecting the GPA of students. You are going to each student and writing down their GPA. If you write them as it is called raw data. But in data array, what we do is we write them in some order, whether ascending or descending. Ascending means from smaller to bigger, descending means from bigger to small. Let's say the person who got GPA 4.0, we will write that 4.0 first, and then 3.9, then 3.8, 3.7, and so on, right? So this is descending order because we are coming from the bigger to the smaller. Similarly, I can start from the smaller one and go towards the bigger one. These are called data array. Array is basically the arrangement of the data in ascending or descending order. For example, here you see we have a sample of, so we are having a, this is amazing. Okay, so here you see the sample of daily production in yards of 20 carpet looms. Okay, so this is the daily production of some carpets in yards. Okay, so we selected a sample of 20 carpets, right? So this is their measurement in yards. This is 16.2 yards, 15.8 yards, 16.3 yards, and so on. So we collected 20 such measurements, and you see they are in any order. So this is the raw data. This is called raw data. Okay, but if we call it, if we arrange it in descending or ascending order, right, then we will call it data array. Where is my highlighter? Here it is. So this is my data array. Now you see we are writing it in ascending order. We started from the lowest possible point, 15.6, then the bigger one, okay, then another bigger one, right, and so on. So see, the smallest one is at the beginning and the highest one is at the end. So this is the ascending order, okay, from smaller to bigger. If I write it opposite, if I start from 16.5 here and write the smaller values and 15.6 at the end, it will be the descending order. Okay, yes, I started recording. I'm recording this lecture. Another one is, so data array is not a problem. Data array is not a problem because raw data is given. You can just have to write in ascending or descending order. It's very quick. Okay, but another way of representing data is through frequency distribution. And most of the time we write frequency distribution because most of the times the amount of measurement is very large. The data is very large. This is just 20 carpet looms, right? But usually we take big data, 10, 100, hundreds and thousands of measurements in it. Then writing them as data array will not be a very good thing. Okay, then what we do, we write as frequency distribution. What does it mean? We make groups, okay, and write the number of items which which lie in that particular group as their frequency. Okay, for example, this is some 20 data array of average inventory in days for 20 convenience stores. Okay, so now these are 20 items and they are written in ascending order. You see, we started from 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, right? So this is in ascending order. Now I have to make a frequency distribution. How we can do it? We will start from 2 and make some groups. Let's say from 2 to 2.5, I make it as one group. Then from 2.6 to 3.1. Then from 3.2 to 3.7 and so on. Okay, unless I get this highest value, 5.5. So see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups. So we make 6 groups. We also call them classes as well. 6 classes or 6 groups. These are similar values. Why we are calling them similar values? That it depends. And people who are collecting the data, they know that there is not much difference between 2 and 2.5. For example, I give you an example. People who get marks from 85 to 90, 85 to 89, they get the grade of B plus. So it means person who got 85 or 86 or 87 or 88 or 89, they are all equal. There is a difference between numbers 85 and 89. There are 4 points difference, but all are the same in your grading system because they all got B plus. So these are similar items. So we made one group of B positive. Similarly, if you got 90 plus, from 90 to 100, everyone got A grade, right? Now, when I say that you all got A grades, it doesn't mean that you all got equal score. It means that you all got above 90. Either 90 or more than 90, but 90 or more than 90 is the same for me because everyone is A grader in that course, right? So we can call them similar values and we can make them in groups. Okay, so then what we do, we will count how many items are filing in this group. So only 2.0 falls in this group, right? So I will write 1 for from 2 to 2.5, I only have 2.0. So I wrote here 1, right? Now in the next group, which is 2.6 to 3.1, there is no quantity from 2.6 to 3.1 because the next one is 3.4, right? Because next is 3.4. So between 2 and 3.4, there is no item. So we got 0 for the second class. So I wrote the frequency of the second class. So this is called the frequency. Frequency is the number of observations lying in the class. So there is no observation in my data which lies between 2.6 and 3.1. Now, if you go to the next one, 3.2 to 3.7, right? I have 1 and 2. See, between 3.2 and 3.7, I have 2 observations. So I wrote 2. So similarly, if I carry on, I got 8 in my third one, 5 in the fifth one, and 4th in the sixth one. Okay, so I got all these observations. Now if you count them, they will be 20 because total number of values are 20 here, right? So sum of the frequency has to be 20 because we distributed students among these values of observation among different classes. Okay, so they have to come out to be a total has to be 20 here. So this sum pen gives me 20. You can count them. 9 plus 8, 17, and 2, 19 plus 1 is 20. Okay, so let's go to another example. The same data, but now I want to make more observations. Last example, we made only 6 classes. You see here, I decided that, okay, let's make 6 classes, but someone can say that, no, this is a big difference from 2 to 2.5. It's very big difference. We should make the difference smaller. If you have to make the difference smaller, you have to increase the number of classes. So if I do the same example with 12 classes, right, then I will take smaller class interval. Okay, my classes will be smaller. So the first one will start from 2 and I stop at 2.2. Then 2.3 to 2.5. Then 2.6 to 2.8. So I'm making a smaller classes and I'm writing frequencies among them. Okay, so you see, I'm writing these classes. So there are 12 classes. Now frequencies have changed, of course, because, for example, I pick this one, 4.4 to 4.6. Here you see there is nothing between 4.4 to 4.6, right? Or let's say this one. This is not a good example. Let's take 4.1 to 4.3. How I got 5? 4.1, 4.1, 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3, right? So you see I have 5 observations. From 4.1 to 4.3, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 observations. Okay. So these are the 5 observations I got in here. So similarly, you can get all these values. So this is another frequency distribution of the same data with different number of classes. Okay. So what is the, I will give you the formula later on. In later slides, I wrote the formula as well, but let me write. If you want, I can write the formula. If you take the highest value, let's say this is the highest value of your number, call it B, and this is the lowest value in your data, call it A. Okay, then this class interval, how I got this class interval of 0.3 is B minus A divided by the number of classes, whatever classes you want to take. I took here 12 classes, right? So this 12 comes here, this 12 comes here, number of classes. So if I take 5.5 minus 2.0, so if you take 5.5 minus 2.0, it's 3.5, sorry, 2.5, right? So then you can divide by 12 and it's almost approximately 0.3, right? Almost 0.3. So we took 0.3. Now you can say that why this is from 2.0 to 2.2 is not 0.3. Both are inclusive. So you start from 2.0, then the next is 2.1, and then you have 2.2. So see, 3 quantities here. That's why it is 0.3. So when both are inclusive, you subtract these two numbers. 2.3 minus 2.0 gives you this. This is the class interval. Okay. Another thing related to frequency distribution is called relative frequency. What is relative frequency? Relative frequency is fraction of observation in each class. If I want to compare how much fraction is here as compared to the total, right? How many, what is the percentage, the fraction of each class? So what I will do, I will divide this 1 by 20. So if you divide each frequency by the total number of frequencies, you see 1 divided by 20 give you this, 0 divided by 20 give you this, right? Then 2 divided by 20. So I will divide each frequency by the total frequency to get the fraction of that typical class. Okay, so these are called the relative frequencies, and the sum of relative frequencies is always 1 because we divided everything up with the total. Now if I add them, they have to add up to 1 because we divided 100% of the data into different classes. So if I add them up, I will get the total 100% back. Okay, so this is called the relative frequency associated with the frequency distribution. Yes, the class number of classes will be given. Someone asked the question. Number of classes, of course, will be given. Otherwise, you cannot decide about the interval. Two things are related: interval, number of classes. One of them has to be given to you. Number of classes are given, I can divide by number of classes to get the interval. If interval is given, I can divide by the interval to get the number of classes, right? But we don't need number of classes if interval is given. If interval is given, I will start making classes, and wherever I got the last number, I will stop there, right? So classes will definitely be given to you, or the class interval will be given to you directly. Otherwise, you cannot make frequency distribution, or then everyone will make its own frequency distribution, right? Okay, so next is less than cumulative or more than cumulative. Now you know this cumulative thing. Cumulative frequency means if I add all the previous frequencies. For example, you get the GPA in every semester. But what is your cumulative GPA? If you add up all your previous GPA, take the average of all your previous semester's GPA, we call them cumulative GPA. Why? Because it's the cumulative, it's not one semester GPA. If you are in 6 semesters, then all previous 5 semesters are included, right? So this is called less than cumulative frequency. So it means the first one will remain first because first semester GPA and CGPA is the same. It's 1. Second comes from adding the next one. If I add this one here and write it here, it will be the next cumulative. The third one will be the previous one added to 2 and write it here, 3. Okay. So similarly, if you add the next one, 3 plus 8 gives you 11. So we keep on adding the next frequency to get the cumulative frequency. Why we call it less than? Why we call it less than frequency? The reason is 11 gives you, this 8 gives you the observation in this class only, right? There are 8 observations from 3.8 to 4.3. But 11 means there are 11 observations before 4.3, means from the start up to 4.3 there are 11. So there are 11 observations less than or equal to 4.3, less than or equal, right? So this is not just 4.3, we can call it 11 observations lie in the class less than 4.3. So that's why we call it less than frequency, cumulative frequency. Okay, so 16 means there are 16 observations less than or equal to 4.9. It means everything is included, right? And if you go 20 is less than or equal to 5.5, and you know that below the whole data is less than 5.5. So all 20 observations come in your last class. Okay, so that is your cumulative frequency. No, the table you will make, we will give you, if you have to make a frequency distribution, we will give you this. Let me go back, this one. We will give you this raw data. These 20 observations will be given to you. Okay, you will make these distribution. Okay, so from here, if I ask you, these 20 observations are given to you. Okay, 20 observation, make a frequency distribution with 12 classes. This will be a question. Okay, so what you will do, you will find the class interval and start making, you will start from 2.0. Okay, so you will write this class first and then you will count the number of observation and write 1 here. Then you will write the next class 2.3 to 2.5. Then you will count all the observation and write the frequency. Okay,
Doctor, please, why you make 2.0 to 2.2?
Because I am taking interval of 3. I want 3 observations in it.
So you will give the so you will give the interval or what?
No, you will. I will give you number of classes, 12 classes. Okay, then
Okay.
In 12 classes, let me write here. In 12 classes, you will see the maximum point is 5.5. I selected the eraser. Where is the pen? Here is the pen. Okay, so this is 5.5, right? I will give you the formula in the next slide. But what we do is we write 5.5 plus next number to it. Next number is 0.1, right? 0.1 is the next one. If I keep on going, then next will be 5.1. Okay, 5.6 minus this lowest value, and we will not subtract or add anything here. Minus 2 divided by number of classes 12. Okay, so if you calculate, this is exactly 0.3. Okay, so it means my first class is starting from 2.0 because this is my lowest point. 2.0 is its lowest point. Next class should start from 2.3 because the interval is 3. next class should start from 2.6, right? But if this class is starting from 2.3, then the previous class should stop at 2.2, right? This is starting from 2.6, so this will stop at 2.5. Okay, so that's how I am making the interval. So this will stop at 2.8, because if I count 2.0, 2.1 and 2.2, these are 3 entries. You see, there are 3. 0.3 means 3 entries. Okay, so then I will calculate all the classes. So see, 2.0 to 2.2, 2.3 to 2.5, 2.3 to 2.5, 2.6 to 2.8, and so on. And these are coming from your data. We are counting between between this class, we are getting only 1 entry. So I wrote 1 here. You got it now?
Yes, doctor.
All right, so let's go back to where we stopped. Okay, so this was less than and more than ogive. Okay, so you don't have to calculate. You see, I gave you relative frequency as well. You will not calculate unless we ask you that. If I ask you make a frequency distribution, I will stop here in these 2 columns. That's it. This is my frequency distribution. I will stop here, only 2 columns. If I ask you, okay, make a relative frequency distribution, then you have to calculate the relative frequency and make the 3rd column as well. Okay, so you will calculate relative frequency only if it is asked. Got it? Okay, yes, Ruqayya, you have question? Okay, so let's go on. So similarly, if we ask you to draw a cumulative frequency distribution, then you will calculate this column of cumulative frequencies. Otherwise, no. If the question is just to make frequency distribution, we will stop here, only 2 columns. If the question is find cumulative distribution, cumulative frequency, then I will calculate this column as well. Okay. Similarly, we can do more than ogive. In more than ogive, we start from the bottom. We start from the bottom, write 4 here, and now add this 5 and write it here. Okay, now add this 8 and write it here. So 17. Now add 17 plus 2, 19. 19 plus 0, 19. 19 plus 1, 20. Okay, so if you start from down to up, this is more than cumulative. Why more than? Because what does this 19 mean? 19 means all of them, all of these, we added all of these. From these, all frequencies are added. So it means more than 3.2. What does it mean? That there are 19 observations more than 3.2. That's why we call it more than cumulative frequency distribution. Okay, so that's the difference between less than or more than cumulative distributions. So this slide gives you the comparison between frequency distribution, relative frequency distribution, and cumulative frequency distribution. Okay, so whatever I explained, it's written on this slide. Next slide gives you the formula which I wrote in the previous one. You see, this is the formula. How to find the width of the classed interval. So I wrote explicitly here, it is the same thing which I calculated, b minus a divided by n. Okay, so next unit value after the largest data minus the smallest value and divide by total number of class. Intervals are classes. You can call them total number of classes. So this will give you the class interval, each class interval. Okay, so so in previous example, my largest data was 5.5, but he said next unit to that. because my unit are in decimals now. 0.1 is my unit. So next unit will not be 6.5. Remember, if you are writing whole numbers, let's say 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Then next unit to 7 is 8. Next unit to 7 is 8. But here I'm writing decimals, 2.0, 3.5, 5.5. The next unit to this is 5.6. This is the next unit. Okay, so minus the smallest data, which is 2.0, divided by total classes were 12. So it came out to be 0.3. Okay, so in this example, you see I am given 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 18 observations, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 18 observations. So he said construct a frequency distribution and relative frequency distribution. Use intervals of 5 burgers. Okay, use 5 classes basically. Interval of 5 burgers is little confusing statement. I should write use 5 intervals or 5 classes. Use 5 groups or classes. This is more appropriate because he want you to make, if the class interval is given, then we don't have to calculate anything. Then we will just start making the classes. Okay, so here you see the next unit to the largest data. Here if you see, the largest one is 29, 31. I think 31 is the largest, right? And smallest is 2. This is the smallest. So how I will calculate next unit to the largest data? So 31 was the largest data, so next unit is 32, because you see all of them are whole numbers. If all numbers are whole numbers, then next unit to this should be 32, not 31.1. Okay, so you have to see what are the values in your data. If they are given in previous example, they were 2.0, 3.1, 4.5. Okay, if your values are given as, let's say, 5.12 up to 2 decimal places, then the next unit will be 5.13. We have to increase only the last decimal from 2 to 3. That's the next unit. Always remember. Okay, so here I got 32 minus 2 divided by 5. So this is my class interval of 6. So now I will take 6 class interval and make the classes. So I will start from 2. I will start from 2. So first class will be from 2 to 7. Don't add 6 in 2. Remember, your class interval is 6. Usually students make this mistake. They add 6 in 2 and write 8 as your next one. They write 2 to 8. That will be wrong. This 8 is the next class. Remember, this 8 should come here in next class. Okay, now if you add another 6, then 14 should be the next class. Okay, so you see the next is 18, 14, 14 plus 6 is 20, 20 plus 6 is 26. And now you see automatically I got this last digit here. You see, I got this last one. So smallest, I started from the smallest and I ended up at the last one. And now calculate how many classes I got. 5 classes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Automatically 5 classes, which was the question. And now if you calculate between 2 and 7, how many are between 2 and 7? There are 4. Cross out 1, 2, 3, 4. You see, these 4 classes are in 2 to 7. So you got 4 frequency. Now from 8 to 13. 8 to 13. 1, 2, 2 only, right? 8 to 13, 2. So I got 2 here. So similarly, you can fill out all of them. So you can from 14 to 19, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 from 18 to 19. See, no, there is another one. So let's see which one we missed. Yeah, this one, right? So we got 6. So that's how you can complete the frequency. But now if you recall, the question was construct a frequency distribution and relative frequency distribution. So what I will do, अच्छा, 5 minutes wait करो मैं आके देता हूँ. Pardon me guys, my son looking for something. Okay, so because here the question was find the relative frequency distribution. Okay, so how we find relative frequency? By dividing each frequency by the total. So total is 18. If I divide each frequency by 18, I will get the relative frequency. See, 4 by 18, 2 by 18, 6 by 18, 4 by 18, and 2 by 18. So these all the fractions. If I add them, I should get the sum equal to 1. So if you add them, the sum is almost 1. Because you see, I am rounding them off. If you write, let's say, maybe up to 4 decimal places, maybe you get exactly 1 at the end. So this is not a problem. If you get 0.9999 or 1.0001, it's not a problem. The reason is we are writing these approximate values. That's why the sum came out to be 0.99. If you add this thing, it is exactly 1. You see, if you add them, 4 plus 2, 6 plus 6, 12 plus 4, 16 plus 2, 18. 18 by 18 is 1, exact. Because these are exact values. These are approximations, so that's why they add up to 0.99. So if they add up to 0.99, don't worry about it, okay? So if you guys are familiar with the graphs, usually if your function is given to you, what you do? You write your independent variable along x-axis and you write your function values along y-axis, right? And you join them by a curve. For example, these are the values, you join them. This becomes a curve in your mathematics calculus courses, right? But if you write class intervals here, if you write classes here, and write frequencies on y-axis and just give the height of each class, that this class has this height. This height is the frequency, any number. The second frequency has a second height. The third frequency has a third height, like this. If you make these bars, these buildings against each class, then you get the histogram. This is what we call frequency histogram. So on horizontal axis, we write the range of classes. On vertical axis, we show the frequencies. Okay, so people are leaving, coming back. Anyway, so here, this is the frequency distribution which we constructed. In the previous example, we constructed this with 6 classes, right? 6 classes. So I got the frequency. Now, if I write 6 classes here, you can join them or you can keep a little difference between them as well. It's your choice. Because you see, first class was from 2.2.5. The next is from 2.6 to 3.1. So we are leaving some space between them. If you don't leave space, no problem. Okay. If you leave small space, it's also okay. All right. Because there is a little space here as well, 2.5 to 2.6, 3.1 to 3.2. So you can leave space in between classes as well. Okay. So now see, the first class has frequency 1. So see, this is 1. This is 1. Second was 0, so it has no height. Third is 2, so 2 comes here. See, sometimes we write these frequencies at the top as well. This is 0, 2, and this is 8. This is 8. So we have the height 8 here. We have the height 8 here. So similarly, the next one is 5, and then it is 4. Okay, so these heights, these bars are the frequencies of each class. So this type of graphic representation is called the histogram. Okay. So this is called your histogram. Got it? This is not necessary. Writing these frequencies at the top is not necessary. If you write, no problem. It gives you more clear representation of the data. Okay. If I join these lines, if I join the midpoints, if I take the midpoint of this height, midpoint of this one, midpoint of this one, okay? If I take these midpoints and join them with the lines, join them with straight lines, not curve, with straight lines. These are not very straight. I'm using the mouse here, so getting trouble. But anyway, if you join them with straight lines, right, this is called frequency polygon. Don't make bars, right? So if I just join, you see, I took this midpoint 1, 0, 2, 8, 5, and 4. These are the midpoints of the top one, right? So if I join them with straight lines, this is called frequency polygon. Okay? So these are frequency polygons, okay? So from histogram, you can easily make polygons, that's not a problem. So if I make a line, the same polygon, not the histogram, if I make the same polygon from the cumulative frequency, if I have a cumulative frequencies and write these midpoints as cumulative frequencies, not the frequencies, and join them, it is called ogive. More less than ogive. Why less than ogive? Because this is less than cumulative frequency. If I start from down to up, that is more than ogive. So more than ogive will frequency will give you more than ogive. Okay. So if I start from the bottom to top and then use these frequencies here, you see 20 and then 19 and then 19, 17, 9 and 4 and join them, they will give you more than ogive. Okay, so ogive is basically a polygon for cumulative frequency. But remember, in ogive we do not make bars. Don't make these bars like things. Don't make bars in ogive. Ogive is always a line. So more than ogive is always decreasing. Remember, it's always decreasing, and less than ogive is always increasing. Right? Because cumulative frequency always increase. So it is always increasing. And more than cumulative frequency always decrease. So this line will always be decreasing, going down. Okay, so here is an activity. I'm giving you this 20 graduating students with an engineering degree. Okay, you can write UOB Oman or Buremi. This is the university where I was teaching before coming here. That's why it's still written. Okay, if you want, you can change it. This is the city where I was living. So in some university there are 20 students who are graduating. So this is their ages. Okay, the sample of ages of 20 students. So this is the raw data, 20 students raw data. You have to construct a frequency distribution, relative frequency distribution, and cumulative frequency distribution with 5 classes. So what will be the class interval? What is the maximum age here? 30, 31. Yeah, 31 is the maximum, I guess. And what is the minimum? 23, 22. Yeah, 22 is the minimum, right? So what you will do, you will take the next unit here. Next unit is 32 minus the smallest unit 22 divided by number of classes, which is 5. He gave you 5 classes. This 22 comes from here, 32 comes from 31, and number of classes. So 32 minus 22 is 10.
Mr.
10.
Why 31, not 32, not 31?
Because the formula is, when you see the formula, we say that next unit to the highest data. Let me go back. Where is the formula? This formula. You see, the next unit value after the largest data. Okay. So
Okay, doctor.
Okay, so that's why we have to go to the next unit. And remember, the next unit, if it is in points, then we have to go to points in next unit. If it is the whole number, you see, these are the natural numbers. So next natural number is 32. If these values are given as points, let's say 22.1, 20.3, 20.7 like this, then the next unit is not 21, then the next unit is 0.4, 20.4. Let's say this is the next unit. Got it? So you have to be very careful. You only have to increase one in your last digit, okay? So here the last digit is 31, so we made it 32, okay? So if it is 27.1, then the next unit will be 27.2 because we have to increase the last digit only. Got it? So here the number of class interval will be 2, number of classes will be 5 automatically. So if you start from 22, you see what will be the first class from 22 to 23, because it should be 24, 26, 28 and 30, okay? And now if you, what is the previous number? 23. Now add 2 in 23, you will get 25, 27, 29 and 31. You see, you got the largest value at the end automatically. You see, the largest value 31 comes here. You started from the smallest, and now you can count the classes. How many classes you got? Automatically you will get 5 classes, because formula gave me this. Formula said if you take class interval of 2, you automatically get 5 classes, right? So I took the, now again don't confuse. You can say that this difference is 1, 22 to 23 is 1, but we are including both of them. You see, 22 is included, 23 is also included. So basically there are 2 numbers in between, 22 and 23. Okay, so this class interval is 2. So basically whenever you have to measure a class interval, take the difference between these 2 consecutive lower limits. 2 consecutive lower limits will always give you the class interval 2. Okay, 26 minus 24, or from the right side, 27 minus 25 is 2. Okay, so that's the class interval, not within the class interval, okay? So these are 5 classes. Now you can count the number of observation and write them as a frequency in the second column. And after frequency, calculate relative frequency. And after relative frequency, calculate cumulative frequency. When it is not mentioned which cumulative frequency, more than or less than. Remember, when it is not mentioned, then we always construct less than cumulative frequency. Usually we start adding from the beginning, not from the end. Remember, your GPA has been calculated from semester 1, not from the last semester, right? So your cumulative GPA is calculated from 1. So it is less than cumulative GPA. So when only cumulative distribution is mentioned or only ogive is mentioned, then you have to start from the less than, unless they mention. For example, in this third part, they mention give me more than ogive. More than ogive. It means now I have to construct more than cumulative frequency distribution and then draw the more than ogive. So if you can do this example on your own, I did half of it. So if you complete this example, it means you understood this whole lecture. All right. So try to do them. I will try to post some problems similar to this activity on Moodle. Try to do them as well. And if you have any questions, you can send me on WhatsApp group and I will try to answer. Okay. So I'm stopping here. I will post these both lectures recording as well on YouTube and send you the links. You can see it later on as well. While doing your problems, you can see the videos and or like lecture slides. And I have already posted lecture slides on Moodle, but these video lectures will also be uploaded and links will be sent to you. You can take help from the slides as well as from the lectures. If you have any questions, tell me. Otherwise, we can just stop.
Mr. You put this video in YouTube?
Yes, and I will send you the link.
Okay, doctor.
Okay, you see it's recording.
Doctor, please just send us the book name on the group, please.
All right, sure. The book is on the Moodle. If you go, I have uploaded the book on the Moodle. Just download it.
Okay.
Everything is on the Moodle. These lectures are already uploaded. These 2 lectures are already uploaded on Moodle. and book is already on the Moodle, and I will post some problems as well today or tomorrow for you to solve. Okay.
Okay, doctor.
All right. Good luck. Stay home and stay safe. Good night.
Thank you
Okay,
so
doctor.
much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right. See you guys later on. Bye bye.